All right, so today we got to talk about this story out of California of a biker that was mowed down by a black driver that got out of the vehicle and went over and stabbed the guy to death after hitting him with his car.
A doctor who took a bike ride on California's Pacific Coast Highway is now dead. Cops say a motorist intentionally slammed into him from behind and then stabbed him to death. The sheriff's department says they don't believe the two men knew each other. So is this a different kind of road rage? Here's Jim Murray.
Was it a case of bike rage? A beloved emergency room physician was riding his bike when police say he was hit by a car, which sent him hurling into the air. Here's where the story takes an even more bizarre turn. Cops say the driver of the Lexus got out of his car and began stabbing the cyclist multiple times, yelling racial slurs about white privilege. Brave bystanders tackled the suspect to the ground. The moment of impact was caught on a ring cam. You can see witnesses run to help the fatally wounded doctor at the intersection in Dana Point, California. Van Roy Evans Smith, an accountant and father of two, was arrested at the scene. The victim was identified as Dr. Michael Mamone.
The reason why I wanted to talk about this story is because I think this story symbolizes a bigger problem that I see in the culture today, which is the acceptance of racism and bigotry towards white people. Now, I'm not saying that white people are the only people that this happened to, because obviously they're not, but white people are the only group of people where you're allowed to do this openly and not, I mean, you're not allowed to kill them openly, obviously, but you're allowed to be racist toward white people openly today in the culture today, and not be held accountable for like whatsoever is actually encouraged. Like is books depicting white people as devils. And like I think this is a very dangerous ideology that I don't see challenged much in today's culture. So I wanted to read this article, or read some of it, and kind of go show you this story. And just because I think this is a very important story to talk about. So let's go. So I got this story from the Daily Mail. From the Daily Mail. So it says, horror moment, dad of two, California doctor, 58, cycling on Pacific Coast Highway, is mowed down by a Lexus and then stabbed to death by the driver, a former accountant making white privilege slurs who was restrained by shocked bystanders. So, an ER doctor was killed after being mowed down by a Lexus and then stabbed to death by the driver in a apparent road rage incident. So first of all, I don't think this was a road rage incident, because it sounds like it was a racial crime, like a hate crime, because the guy hit him with the car and then got out and stabbed him to death as he's yelling racial white privilege slurs at him. So I think this was a little more than just a road rage incident. Dr. Michael Mamone, hope I'm pronouncing that right, 58, was cycling on Pacific Coast Highway, California, when he was ran over by a white Lexus, which sped through the red light at an intersection on Wednesday around 3 p.m. The driver of the vehicle, Van Roy Evan Jones, 39, then got out of his car and stabbed the cyclist multiple times in the back, with brave bystanders tackling him to the ground. Witnesses say he was holding a BB gun when he approached the doctor and married father of two and was screaming racial slurs about white privilege, according to ABC7. Shocking video shows the moment Smith, a trained accountant, career into the cyclist, with police claiming that the pair were complete strangers. So yeah, these people. So it doesn't seem like they knew each other. So the conclusion that makes the most sense is this was a racial hate crime, and it should be treated and talked about as such. Now, obviously, I think that everybody can agree that if this was a white driver and a black guy on a cyclist, a black guy crossing the street like the white guy was, if the roles was reversed in this story will be everywhere. They'll be talking about black people who can't even ride their bikes safely in America without getting ran over. They will be screaming about this like nonstop. It will probably be riots. I mean, you saw what they did with Ahmaud Arbery. That the short clip came out of them chasing Ahmaud Arbery with their truck, and the media and everybody else in the culture called it a lynching, when Ahmaud Arbery was a suspect, and he was a suspect that was breaking into houses, and the cops was looking for him, and the dad, the McMichaels in that case, was attempting to make a citizen's arrest of Ahmaud Arbery. He wasn't no jogger. He wasn't no innocent, just an innocent jogger running through the neighborhood and getting lynched by white people like they make you, like they'll have you believe. So my only point is that when stuff like this happens to white people, is not, I mean, obviously it's not treated the same way as when it happened to other races, especially black people. So I think this is the kind of stuff that happens when you're teaching stuff like critical race theory in schools, or when you're openly allowed to be racist and act like white people are less than human. This is the kind of stuff that happens. I mean, critical race theory teaches you that all white people is oppressors of you if you're a black person. So if you're taught this in schools and in popular culture, I mean, you're taught that they're basically not human. I mean, so you shouldn't be surprised when you see situations like this. I mean, this stuff is crazy, and it needs to stop. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to say any group of people, any group of people based off of their race is less than another group of people. And that's exactly what critical race theory, and that's exactly what the woke revolutionaries and the woke left today teaches people. They teach people that white people is inherently evil. White people is inherently oppressors. White people inherently oppress black people by the nature of the color of their skin. So you shouldn't be surprised when you see situations like this happen. So yeah, I think this story is crazy and should be talked about a lot more than I see it covered. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in my next one.